So fun.
So fun. Okay, so click over to your Instagram and go ahead and go live, Sherry. I'm doing
Okay.
the same. I have to press it and wait. It's kind of tricky. And then press it again. Even when you see the picture of us, you have to press it again. Because it's
From
not really
StreamYard. Okay, I'm on StreamYard. Now go back to Instagram.
and go live.
It's not letting me.
Are you live on StreamYard? Yeah, it says it's on yours.
Hmm.
Press it a couple times and just be patient. If you press it a couple times and be patient, it'll come on. Hi, Amanda here with Dr. Sherry. Just give us a moment while we get technology in order here on Levels Without Limits.
Okay, it is not letting me.
Oh, we are both live. I got a confirmation. You're good. So leave it alone. All right, we're live.
Yay! We did it, girl. Woo!
So I'm Amanda Marino, founder of Next Level Recovery Associates. Amanda Marino Speaks, and I have my show Levels Without Limits, where I love to bring on incredible people all around the world doing incredible work. And I've been very blessed to have time with Dr. Sherry today, and we've just became technology behind the scenes friends already. You'd like to introduce yourself to our audiences?
Yes, I'm Dr. Sherry Campbell, and I'm so lucky that Amanda reached out to me and was able to work with my wild patient schedule. So thank you for doing a Friday. I know Tuesday's usually your day, and I have 11 patients on Tuesday. So I'm the first expert to write about no contact as a viable choice in family. And that was like 5-6 years ago in my book called But It's Your Family. And I've written 4 more books since then on toxic family. I'm editing one, currently writing a new one because I went viral on a series on low effort family, which is something I created. So it's just been a really great journey. And I made it all the way to the TEDx stage and well over almost 500,000 views to it. So it's just been so exciting to be to have this come out, and I share my own personal story, and I'm probably the only expert that does that as well, because I really am a survivor helping survivors rather than a PhD helping survivors.
I love that. I hope that it's becoming more of that nowadays. I see a little bit more of that, but thank you for being brave and like doing this years ago before people were feeling comfortable too. And congratulations on your TEDx. It's something that I'm currently working on myself. And, and thank you for this. Like I said, when I review everything, when we set it up, I review everything. I was like, oh, this topic is so good. And as adults and as adult females, I mean, adults across the board, I'm just going to speak for females because it's my experience. This is a hard thing, cutting off. We feel an obligation to people.
Oh, yeah.
So what does this topic mean to you to start?
It saved my life. I don't believe I was left with any other choice if I wanted to be a fully functioning, happy human being in my life. My family is so sadistically toxic that there just wasn't any viable choice for me other than that. And so, when I first saw no contact, I saw it everywhere. You can break up with everybody, and parents can even break up with their children and call it tough love. But a child is just somehow inherently not allowed to cut off from their parents without setting off this incredible firestorm of cognitive dissonance around societal expectations, et cetera, et cetera. And I felt like I don't care about any of that. I would rather be stoned off planet Earth and have my freedom and society hate me than to suffer the way that I was suffering.
I love that. Thank you for taking that stand. It's so important. And it's so important for people that are listening. If you're here on LinkedIn, you're here on YouTube, you're here on Instagram, please say hello. Please share any questions you have for our expert, Dr. Sherry, today. This is just such an important messaging. And so you're seeing it, you're seeing like your book, one of them was about in the families, like the family systems for the children cutting parents off. Was it all kind of relationships?
No, it's only parent to child. So I wrote, But It's Your Family, because that's all I ever heard. And then I wrote adult survivors of toxic family members. I wrote adult survivors of emotionally abusive parents. I've got a book editing right now, and I'm just writing The Low Effort Family Dynamic. And then I have a little daily devotional called Your Pocket Therapist. And that can be used for any toxic dynamic because, I thought, oh, if he's a jerk, I should date him. I mean, I should just replicate my trauma.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did have to work through that as well. But for me, it just really started in the family system. And I had some very bad habits on understanding love as a fear-provoking, tension-creating, conflict-oriented, abandoning experience.
Yeah, and it doesn't that's not love, and that a lot of us, I mean, I have a very traumatic childhood as well. My mother is lovely, but her people she had in her life were not, and so I've went through, I say my childhood is like a Hallmark movie. Or not Hallmark. Hallmark's pretty. The Lifetime movies, those are like so dramatic. Like that's basically my childhood.
Yeah, I relate my childhood to Stranger Things. I grew up in the Upside Down, so
Wow.
I'm in the Upside Down. Yeah, I had two very toxic parents and 9 marriages between them.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there a point like growing up that you knew you wanted to do this work, or like, you said you were willing to talk a little bit about your personal story, like, what brought you to this and then brought you to be like more public? Because I know like my reasons why I do things out loud and I share openly and vulnerably, because I'm hoping that maybe one person like I can help, right? That's like my guiding, like, God help me help somebody today. So like, where did that come for you along your journey? And like, did you always know you wanted to be a therapist?
I think I was born one. I think I was a therapist to both my parents. But I was suicidal by 5th grade. It was just so bad. And I was failing school. I almost failed 3 grades. And then I got caught ditching school. And I lived in a very small town in a different state. So everybody knew everybody. So not hard to get caught. And that family was a really good family. And so they suggested to my mother that I get into therapy. And for image sakes, I think she put me in because she probably wanted to look good because someone suggested it. And probably the worst decision of her life, because it really woke me up. And my therapist at 16 said, you should really consider being a therapist. She said, your insight is just so beyond your years. And she goes, I feel like I'm sitting in here talking to an adult. And because I was so parentified and I was having to wander around in my life, regulating the emotions of unregulated adults. So yeah, I mean, school didn't really help me at home. And that's what I needed help with. So I just wasn't interested in school. And then later diagnosed ADHD. So I don't know, is it ADHD? Is it CPTSD? I don't know. I don't care. I take a little bit of Vyvanse. It's great. So whatever works. But
whatever works, everyone has their own journey.
I was always that friend that everybody always came to. And I just think maybe there's an in this lifetime, maybe, this is a soul contract that I have. But did I ever expect to write a book? No, never. I had publishers sort of reaching out. I'm like, oh, that's so scary. Like, yeah. I don't know. I like my journal and I like my privacy. But now today I'm so thankful. One, I am not alone. And I felt so alone, so just deeply alone for so long, just carrying the burden of my story for my whole life. So to recognize that how not alone I am has probably also been very healing for me, as much as it has been so healing for other people.
That is one of the most gratifying things. That's like one of my greatest, like, hope. If anyone hears anything today, that they leave with that. I can't believe how many people in the world there are. Like, I would love to see a research study that truly believe that they're the only one that's gone through what they've gone through and that they are all alone. And that's a big thing. So I love that that's your kind of one of your like mantras and missions,
Yes. It's like, you're not alone. We're not alone. And, hopelessness is the greatest predictor of suicide. So, how many lives do we save just letting people know that they're just not alone, that there is this huge community online? And I definitely did not expect to put my work out there, to have it replicated and replicated and replicated by other influencers and how well they're doing and how many people they're helping. Just that butterfly effect. I'm so grateful to anybody who has been inspired by my work and is now teaching it. It's just so beautiful to me. I'm so thankful. I'm just so thankful.
And that shows the healed woman you are, not saying like, oh, all these people are copying my stuff. Like the way
Oh
you
God, no. Please take it, replicate it, because what if
that's a strong, empowered woman who knows who she is, that wants to see the healing in the world and wants other people to shine. And I love that. I have goosebumps again.
Yeah, no, I do, because I feel like I could read the same message in a different book from a different author and take it in just a slightly different way. There's enough for everybody. I don't own this. Am I proud of myself? Yes, I'm so proud of myself that I told my story as an expert, and I put no contact into the family system. I didn't make up no contact. It just was never given permission from a child to their parents. So I made that permission because I thought I can't be the only one who needs to do this, right? So I love that people are doing it. More power to them. I don't own information.
Yeah, no, I love that you're like that. That's beautiful. And it's because you were a source, and how, you shared it, and then other people felt safe sharing it. And
Yes.
just
See,
like
I love that. I try to have as many of them on my show as I can.
Love that.
Because maybe they hear through that person's voice something they missed in mine. And why not just have the most well-rounded support system, right? I love it more than anything.
Yeah. And I have to, like, I'm not sure how this was like for you and like building your business and kind of like stepping out of, like, I also never intended to grow a social media following. It was like never like, oh, hey, I want to get on social media and I want to get, like, it never was a plan. I just happened to like start to share openly on LinkedIn. And at the time, nobody shared personal stuff. This is like 10 years ago. And started to notice I get like a lot of views and a lot of things. And then I'm like, oh, there's something to this. I can help more people at once. And I started getting DMs of people, maybe picking up the phone's too scary, but sending a DM might be a little less, scary. And then, it just kind of like, I started my company in 2019, and then we had the pandemic. So then thank God I had like somewhat comfortability, and then
yes,
I've evolved into that, and it's brought me the dearest relationships. I would never have believed it. You'll never have a better supporter than a social media friend that you've never met. I'm telling you.
100%. I mean, I would say that most of my good friends are people I've met in this field, and it's just such a beautiful thing, because now I have followers, I have experts, and I can find social media incredibly overwhelming. I went viral. I was in my office and I was thinking, big words like abuse, toxic, neglect, they don't land very well. Like, people will go, I wasn't neglected. Even if I put emotional in front of that word.
Mm-hmm.
The way, if you know anything about neuro-linguistic programming, it's the way the brain takes in words. Well, if neglect is the last word, we tend to think of low income, dirty shoes, dirty hair, no food. So then people will be like, well, I wasn't neglected. So I'm like, what? How can I reach into the hearts of people not using that word?
Yeah.
And so I came up with low effort. And it has gone wildly viral.
Love that.
And then I'm on, I can't keep
up.
I'm the type who wants to like everything and make people feel seen. And I'm like, whoo, I cannot keep up. And so I'll write the book. So I'm writing the book right now. I'm about 10,000 words in, which isn't very much, but I'm already editing another book. So it'll be out in a few years. But I didn't know that there was such a need, and nor did I know that this was a way that could get the point across in a more absorbing, less threatening way.
Yeah, digestible for people, for the masses, right? Because like, even when I'll share my, like, just in a short version. So like, I was sexually abused from ages 4 to 7. My mother was violently domestically abused in front of me for those years by a man who I thought was my father. Then when she found out I was being sexually abused, she was, even with the death threats of every day that he gave her, and he was Mr. Church Guy by day and this by night, drug dealer, woman abuser by night. And she finally got away when we did like a runaway, like people chasing us, running into the cab. And then less than a year later, we had restraining orders against him. He hired somebody on lawn maintenance day to kidnap my baby sister, who they took her to Canada. And it was this whole thing. I could share more. So that was 4 to 7. And then I find out from my mom, oh, that wasn't your dad. He adopted you when you were younger, but your dad's another man in New York. And then I was like excited, but then I was like, why didn't this man save me? You know, that was my intro to life. So like, I just believe, and I didn't know other people went through sexual. I thought I was the only one. And then now when I talk about it and people are like, oh, I didn't have trauma like that. I'm like, no, if your parents didn't come to your games, or if they didn't show up for you, or they were not like choosing partners over you, or whatever they were doing, it's all the same digested in our body. Like, don't think that like yours is less important than mine just because it's not as massively like a Lifetime movie, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I remember my dad was in cults, and I'm 15 years old, and he's like, you were my lover in another lifetime, and your mom is still jealous today. And I was like, you're what?
Yeah.
And he had this theme that we were sexual partners in other lifetimes. So was I touched? No. Is that totally inappropriate to say to your daughter?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's
so
trauma.
I always tell people that emotions are the universal language.
Yes.
How I feel trauma in my body is no different than how someone else feels trauma in their body.
Yeah.
Now, what causes or triggers my trauma is probably different than what causes or triggers someone else's trauma. But I like what you said. We shouldn't be measuring stories, right? Because if we all feel pain the same way, then the details don't matter. Where we want to relate to one another is in the pain space, because we all feel it in the same way. So we can all relate to each other. And that is where empathy comes from.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just adding just so people can write questions. So it doesn't look like I was doing something.
Okay.
That's what I was doing. No, it is. And it like, I remember my ex-husband, who I'm very close to. I'm very blessed to have 2 ex-husbands that I absolutely adore. And my partner we all get along. It's like,
it's so great.
Very rare, but it's a beautiful thing. Everyone loves each other and shows up for each other. But you know, my ex-husband, you know, his family was a different thing. His parents were immigrants, and like they didn't go to his rooms, and he had to work at age 11. And for him, he felt like, oh, that's nothing compared to what you went to. And I was like, no, you need to like honor that. Like that is a thing. You know, we all have stuff that we've gone through. And then when I share like how high level mine was, people get uncomfortable, right? You can see it makes other people uncomfortable, but don't think it makes, I've done so much work since I was 7 years old. I you know, in therapy since I was 7, that I don't feel uncomfortable. I feel relief when I share it every time.
That's right. Sure. And you're helping somebody who is potentially uncomfortable because they haven't done the work. And that's, I think what's great is when you see someone healed, and you and I get to be great examples that being free and happy is genuinely possible. I'm a genuinely happy, fulfilled woman, and I have all of this trauma. And I wouldn't, at this point in my life, there's nothing I would change.
Same. I literally
there isn't anything I would change. Do I have abandonment feelings? Is there a smear campaign that's rattling on in the background of my life to this day? Yes, there is. Can that be uncomfortable? Yes. Do I find flying monkeys on my information? I do. Are there hooks and lures to try to get me back in? There are. And I just block, remove, delete. I just don't even give it any of my attention. I'm not going to give it oxygen. And in doing that and in learning that, you know, it has really set me free to be the person that I am today, who's here with you, who's been with Kristen Cavallari on her show twice, who's been TEDx stage, like, and I failed 3 grades, people. Like I almost didn't even make it through high school.
Honey, I dropped out in freshman year.
See, I just love that because, you know, and now I have a PhD, and I never thought I could do that. And the whole time I was doing it, I thought I couldn't do it. But you can do so much more than you think if you can just start to heal your stuff. I got in therapy at 16. I probably needed it a lot younger, but I'm in it now. I just think it's so important.
Well, I'm a coach and an interventionist and a consultant, and I have a therapist, I have a coach, I have a psychiatrist. Like I fully believe in like implementing to myself what I would ask of my clients. Absolutely.
100.
Yeah. So I dropped out in freshman year, and then I got my GED at 16, and then I did community school. Then I finished university with both of my children at my graduation, which was so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a desire for a master's, potentially more in the future. I know right now with my bandwidth, it's not possible, but it's just definitely. And so I have what I do in my company to fill in the places is have professionals such as you or the doctors on my team, like they do those things.
Yeah.
So I cover all of that, the clinical part with the right professionals to collaborate with.
And don't you think too, I mean, giving all credit due to those of us that have done all the education, you know what? There is not one thing, and no offense to my PhD, because I'm very proud of myself, but there isn't one thing I learned in my PhD that helped me with my family. Not one. My personal reading, my personal research, and those things were my saving grace, right? I mean, family systems explained some things to me, but it didn't give me the hows or the whys or the what to do's, right? So in really just doing all of my own research in free reading, it's like you don't need all that. You don't need all the accolades to genuinely help. Like those of you that are listening, your story is your education. Your story will change someone else's life. You don't need to have higher education to do it. You just need to share yourself, and people will relate.
That's making me emotional because there was a time where I was like, I have to do the master's degree just to be credible to other people. And then all my friends are therapists, pretty much like probably watching now. Hi, all of you. I love you. And a lot of them were like, Amanda, with what you want to do and what you're telling me you want to do, it is not therapy. You know what I mean? So like, you're really good at what you do. And own that, and any therapist that's evolved and obviously not threatened by the coaching stuff that's come out now, it has been such my greatest support. I mean, I've had a few, there's always the naysayers that come in here and who the hell do you think you are pretending to be a mental health counselor? I'm like,
hi.
Yeah, nowhere, delete, block. Yeah. No longer does that. Yeah. I don't take that on, but for a while I did, trying to work up the belief in myself. So just a question on the cutting. So when I saw the topic and I knew, your bio and your, some of the story and I had listened to some of your podcasts, I also thought about cutting ties with toxic people in today, right? Yeah. And professional relationships, personal relationships. So yeah. I'm going to assume, I'm going to ask, like you're in behavioral health, but you don't go to like a lot of behavioral health events and stuff. Okay.
None.
Okay. So there's a lot of wonderful, fantastic people that I have met over my years of 15 years of going to conferences and doing all these things. Yeah. And then there's also like a very toxic enmeshment piece of it where it's like, I loved being part of it when I was new. And then over like the past 5 years, it just started to not feel comfortable for me. When I started to grow as a professional, and, go be brave and go out on my own and then like, go on the TV show Intervention and just all these things that I've been able to accomplish. I had friends, I thought, that were not happy for me and not supportive. And people come at me that knew me 10 years ago. Who the hell do you think you are? And like all these things. So relationships, I believe now friendships, they've been the hardest thing for me since I was a kid to get over. But I now truly believe in that God is going to bring me who's meant for me and will remove. And I don't chase anymore. I used to be a chaser because of the abandonment.
Of course. Oh yeah. I have like trophies. I have chasing trophies. Yeah.
We should compare.
Yeah. We should compare like our wall of trophies. I think it's a very natural instinct to chase and to want a community. What I have never been a fit in. So I would even say that there are certain experts in this field that just don't have me on their shows.
Yeah, I have ones that straight up, listen, with me, you either love me or you can't stand me.
That's right. And I think that's that competitive nature and where I like to share space and not own space. I don't care about that. Again, am I proud of myself? I really am. I really am. It was really scary as an expert to tell my story because now incoming patients know me and I don't know them.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay.
You should be damn proud of yourself.
I am damn proud of myself that I started this. And there are certain experts that want to take it and then disinclude, right? And I was, that frustrated me for a minute. And then I looked at who I really thought they were. And I'm not a fan anyway. And I've always been, I'm an INFJ. I'm 1% of the darn world's population. I am introverted. I really like having a sort of quiet way of walking in my life with slippers, gently putting my information out there, but as me and just letting it marinate. I do think that I try to stay out of those cliques.
Oh yeah. No,
I think that they end up being who they talk about. So
you are like, as you're a clinician, you know, that is how it is. And
yes.
like, I was tired of not just hearing it with me, with all the people that I cared about that I knew were, so it just is something that like I decided, like, you know, within the past like year and a half, 2 years, that like I actually want my divorce 5 years ago, like locally, I started to separate myself and just focus on the professionals that I do business with and my true pure ones, which there are a lot.
Yes.
Like anyone that does not make me feel good to be around, I am not going to be there anymore.
If you're not for me, you're not going to be with me.
No, you'll be against me.
That's right. And I've never liked catty, gossipy spaces because my mom was such a catty, petty, gossipy, competitive person. And I really shy away from that. I have very high quality relationships and I can count them all on one hand.
Same. That's where I am today. And I remember my mother, when I was a kid, she used to say to me, "Mom, Amanda, if you can count your true friends on one hand, you'll be so beyond blessed." And I would cry to her because I wanted all the friends. And that even carried it because of being abandoned and being bullied as a kid. And then now being like such a woman lover. Like I walk in a room and I'm loving and I'm bright and I'm shiny and I'm friendly. And some people don't like that. It like cringes people. And I'm like, well, then you're not my people.
Well, you know, if you're not for me, then you're not with me. You know, I just think that what I've learned throughout my life, and, you know, I'm going through a whole phase of life now because I'm in perimenopause. I'm 54. And
44.
Yes, 54.
I'm 44, like full on HRT and everything.
Me too. And I was thinking about that. I'm learning that we're leaning out of all of these billions of neurons that make us other-centered. So it's sort of like it's a new phase in life where even like developmentally, you know, my daughter's 20. She doesn't need me the way she used to. And now my brain's doing this. And it's like a time for me to just now get to nurture me. And it's an interesting process. It's been 10 years for me. 53 was really bad. I started around your age. What wasn't on HRT yet, but you know, it's really interesting because I do feel such a massive change happening in my whole spirit. But my lifetime has taught me that authenticity will outdo any lie about you, even if it takes decades, right? I'm 9 years no contact in June. That's my rebirth day. Is June 12th is my rebirth day. And I celebrate it. And I look at how far I've come in that time. I look at all that I've done in 9 years is unbelievable. And I had to get it out. It's like vomit. Like sorry for such a gross metaphor, but it's like it was in my body. I just needed to get it out.
Oh, release.
Yes, I wrote all these books. I'm a writing machine. I live and breathe. I've healed through my hands because my words never frickin' worked in my family. I was never heard, not seen. So it's just been an interesting journey. And I think that, you know, cutting ties is not cancel culture. Yeah. This is not a game. I was raised in the silent treatment. So I'd get silenced and then I'd have to chase and I'd have to fix something I never broke for sport. I would just get silenced. So no contact is different. I've never encouraged it, but I will fully support it. If someone knows, like I knew, there's no way that I can be happy here, then you leave.
Yeah. Or when or it came into my life, the no contact was when I had my heart broken. And I've never not been friends with exes. Like like I'm able to do that in my maturity as a woman who's been, through divorces. So like I had one ex that like was not capable. He was younger, not really experienced in relationships yet. And that no contact thing was freaking hard for me to not reach out so I could heal. And then it really did start to help me heal.
It's brutal at first, especially in a romantic dynamic.
Yeah.
I think when it's family, it's a different kind of brutal because it took me 45 years to do it. And all I felt was relief. I felt fear because I knew I was going to battle a really intense smear campaign, and I lost every single person in that smear campaign.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of people by the choices I've made, and the people that matter stay, and it's kind of like God's removing them and taking them out. Like I have had no contact with, my sister multiple times because we have very different belief systems, and our mother is going through some health stuff. It's kind of brought us back together, but with boundaries and kindness. And I still am super encouraging. Like she shared, she just completed something. And I was like, even though she's not been happy for me, at least because she's not happy wasn't that she accomplished some things. I was like in the group text was so complimentary. I'm so proud of you because I feel that now. I don't feel any kind of bitterness. I feel the safe distance is healthy for now. And that's also, remember what we went through when we were kids, right?
Yes.
Watching get abducted in front of me and taken. So there's stuff there, Do you see this comment? Are you able to see the comments? It says,
let me put my glasses on.
I can read it to you. It says,
okay.
All of your choices, including your friends and your circle of influence with love, kindness, caring value, and respect for yourself and everyone else is involved. Everyone rises. I thought that was great.
100%.
Silent treatment. I don't know if that's true. I don't agree with that one. Silent treatment, the perpetuation of manipulation without words.
I agree. If it's the silent treatment. So what would happen is I find the silent treatment to be very passive aggressive. So I would walk home, and if I had done something that she didn't like, which was my existence, is she didn't like it. So she would never yell at me.
Right.
But I would walk in and be like, "Hi, Mom." And she would act like I was not there. And that to me is the perpetuation. Manipulation, right? Without any words. It's the middle finger with no, you don't need any words for that. So I do agree with that comment. Yes.
The silent treatment is, but I think like I was taking it as the no contact.
Yeah, no contact is 100% different. And if you guys want an explanation on what I think that is, just let me know and I will explain that to you.
Yeah. And I can also put in the, like afterwards, like we like go into like the other formats besides Instagram and like put like links to your books and stuff like that. I will happily do that for you.
Perfect.
Yeah. Because I mean, I had that silent treatment with that one that I was speaking of. And like just no response, no nothing, like just say, hey, I can't do this. This is hard for me. I don't know how to be your friend. Cool. Bye.
When someone silences you, even if it's just for a few days, right? It brings up so much fear and it puts your body into total survival because without any words, you're unable to read your environment. And it is if you really look up being ostracized, it's a form of torture.
It is. It's awful.
It's awful.
Especially when you say you're going to like, I'll stay in the kids' lives. You can stay in my father's, all those bullshit things. And you don't follow through. Like, I don't
imagine a child, your parents are your source for everything. And then you parents silencing you because you didn't make your bed right or whatever it would be, right? Then you start to feel like I am really bad because if my parent thinks I'm bad, I am horrible. And then you start into this fixing scenario, the chasing.
Do you have kids?
Yes, I have a 20-year-old daughter.
Okay, I have an almost 20-year-old son.
Yes.
And I have an almost 13-year-old daughter, and it is like you were talking about that wise young girl. Oh, you were talking about you
Yeah.
in therapy. And so my daughter, I just recently brought her to like my spiritual mentor's house, and just listening to my daughter and her, I mean, I've already known she's emotionally intelligent, but her insight onto like what she wants, what she's seeking, I was just like, I was like almost in tears hearing her share this stuff with our friend
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
had just met. Right. And then also she got I canceled all I've been traveling since my kids were born. So my daughter, when she started middle school, I canceled all my travel for the first like few semesters just to make sure she was supported.
Yeah.
I got bullied hard, right? In middle
Mhm.
school, like just annihilated, called a hoe before I touched a boy, like all these awful things. So my daughter got the note, dear Scarlett, you're a hoe.
Oh.
Your dad probably beats you.
Mm.
And just went on and on. The last thing that was the worst part says, and you should probably go ahead and kill yourself because no one would care.
I
So,
went to school in 8th grade and there was a note taped to my locker. There's 60 kids in my grade. Okay. And said, I hate you on it with 10 signatures.
that's awful. And how did that affect you? Because you were
Destroyed me.
okay. See that those things destroyed me and made me feed into the section like, oh, I'm already dirty, damaged, broken, and messed up. So yeah, they're probably right. I am, but my daughter, because of how I've been able to raise her, she literally talked to me and her dad on FaceTime, talked about it, was upset for like 5 minutes, said, you know what, Mom, I feel really bad for the person that feels that bad about themselves to take time out of their day to write that to me. So I'm going to pray for them. And I swear to God, she's not even once taken it on again. And that's what we can do as moms.
Yeah. I mean, just parenting, even if there's one attuned parent is all it takes to really, my kid stands up to peer pressure like no one's business. She just got into a top 10 university in the nation. I'm like, and she, to me, I mean, I would love to take credit, but I just think she already came in with something in this lifetime that's so magical and so high level that I can't even take any credit for it. I'm like, she came that way. I mean, I'm really lucky.
So I believe that well, Merrick definitely, my son, he definitely came out like Earth's angel, saved so many lives. Like he's just like this at 20, he's almost 20 years old and he's never tried.
That's my daughter. Yeah.
15. But there definitely has been, you can see the parts of how he was raised, even though we were divorced.
Always. Yeah. You can't take it. I mean, I've done I love her to death. I think I've been a phenomenal mom. I think she would agree, but I mean, by 5 years old, she was so in tune. I was blown away by her. So I think that part of whatever her purpose here is I just get to nurture it and watch her fly and be incredible. And it's beautiful.
Ways that we weren't supported, right? And show up in the ways
God, no.
Yeah. And so I'll
please go to school. Get out of my face. I don't want you around. Yeah.
Yeah. Both my son and daughter, like, I do think that they both, well, my daughter was born a little like, she was like behavioral at 3 months old. So she's needed a little bit like nudging in the right way, but now she has her sassiness and whatever, but she's also sweet, pure, and deeply emotional.
She's got a good mama and a good dad, and that makes all the difference.
Yeah, it does. It does help. What other ways can we talk about like cutting ties with toxic people professionally? We touched on, with children, with parents, with, children to their parents. And
I think people struggle. I mean, we're on LinkedIn. I think that the number one reason people quit their jobs is they can't stand their boss. I did write for Entrepreneur Magazine for 5-6 years as one of their top writers for the online magazine. And I think leadership is tremendously important. And if you have a toxic boss, I don't think you should stay at the job. I mean, you're not going to, HR isn't going to help, so you've really got to figure out what the quality of your life is. I mean, I would leave the job.
Yeah.
I think that's hard, easy for me to say, but the boss isn't going to change.
Yeah.
So,
and my former business partner, I hope he's watching, Blake Cohen. So he left as my business partner to start helping he's getting a PsyD in organizational psychology.
Yeah.
through Wharton. And and that's like, he wants to help make workplaces better for people, and change the culture. And that's a hard one. Like, I mean, I definitely think that the only difference between like me leaving my job and trying to go on my own was I was clear. What's my worst case scenario? I have to get another job. And I did it. I was scared and I did it anyways. And there's no magical thing with that. Like, it's literally going out and having the balls to do it.
That's right. That's right. And being able to take the risk. I really believe anything we lose gets replaced by something good or better than what we lost. I want to address this comment because I think it's really good.
Yeah.
We must be able to judge whether following parental model is good for us or not. And this is such a good point. So thank you to, I think it's Michelle. I don't have my glasses on. Okay. So what I think is that, yes, no one gets to tell us if we were abused or not. No one. Only we know that. And I think that because society does not support children cutting off from toxic parents, and that's my TED Talk is called Not All Parents Are Good. Not all parents are bad, but facts are not all parents are good. And it is up to the survivor to decide. That's up to the survivor. It isn't up to society to decide for you. Sorry, it just isn't. It's up to the survivor.
Yeah.
So thank you to that person for that point.
For that. Like, I had the opportunity until I was 18 years old to, file charges, even though the man was was deported to Canada. And I made a conscious decision at 17 after talking with my mom and my therapy work. Like, I don't want to bring that back into my life. And that's just something I don't want to revisit.
Yeah. Good choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. What do we have over here? We have another. Oh, it says LinkedIn user. Why doesn't it say a name? Usually it would say a name. When you don't work for a job, you work for a purpose. And these choices.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yes. Yeah. Your purpose cannot be fulfilled under a boss who won't let you expand, right? Or let you be creative. So I love that. That's such a great point. I do think we all have a purpose here on this planet. All of us, we wouldn't be here if we didn't. And I think that my most passionate pursuit in my life is my journey, is healing it and being creative and expansive and having an impact and all of those things. So if you have anyone blocking your ability to have an impact, that they're not for you. So you need to go.
Yes. So so my last job, they were so supportive with me, like, for years. And like, in corporate, like, things change. Right. And then they tried to put me, Amanda Marino, in this little bubble. And I said, put baby in the corner. I'm not the one.
No, baby doesn't go in a corner.
Not after you free rein me for years and like supported me doing all this stuff. And I basically told them, like, I can't continue. Like, I think you guys are trying to keep me in a box and hindering my growth. And, ever since then, my life has just continued to get better.
Yeah. Amen.
It's not the things we're saying are not easy, but there are people that you can work with that can help you get there.
Well, let me share something, because I've always been very candid about this. I have literally always done the brave thing. I have not once ever done it bravely. And I probably never will, because I have found that bravery for me comes in hindsight. Like, oh my God, I've never done it bravely. I have done it wide-eyed and petrified.
Same.
And
we don't walk in.
What I've done hasn't made me more brave for the next brave thing I'm going to have to do. I'm still going to do it totally wide-eyed and petrified. So me trying to figure that out, like, that's none of my business. That's the universe thing. I don't need to know how it all works. But I will tell you, don't wait to be brave. I've done the brave thing. And honestly, by force. The universe has been like, you're crossing the road, girl. You got to decide what you're going to do.
It's that thing you cannot turn away from. It's telling you it's
yes.
I left. So like my daughter's that great man, one of my best friends. Like, I'm supporting him right now through something he's going through. I just wasn't in love with him anymore. To leave a good man, everybody had something to say about me leaving my husband, and couldn't believe it was just because I didn't believe that I wanted him to have a choice, to have someone that loves him the way he deserves. And I believe there was a love, which I have now for 3 years. My guy that works in tech, like yours.
Yes, I've got a 9-year guy.
So I mean, he was exactly right. And I needed to go through all the things, but that choice was so hard because I had to look at my kids in the face and be like, this, and we were told by our therapist, don't say whose choice it was. What does my little girl at 8 years old say? Whose decision was this? And I wasn't going to lie to her. I told her the truth.
Well, and I think you're showing your kids that happiness is a choice. And, whether you're setting boundaries, leaving a relationship or whatever, I mean, my daughter's watched everything. She's watched 2 divorces. She's watched the family dynamics. They say you marry your worst parents. So it makes sense. I married both and I'm not friends with them. And I would never choose to be because I was choosing from a very traumatic part of my person. They do not belong anywhere in my life. And I've not now been married since I was 38. And one day I think my partner and I will get married, but we're raising kids in 2 different counties. And we have an incredible blended family. He's got 2 boys. I've got my daughter. They love each other. But I think that my daughter will take no shit because I haven't. And I've modeled that for her. Like, no's no, enough is enough.
Yeah. And guess what? Like, because both of my ex-husbands are both doing amazing. Like, actually my last one, he's like happier and healthier and like, focus on our daughter. Like, they have such a great time when he never had her like alone like that as often. So many things have evolved over the hard choices that you don't know in the beginning. But if you're following your truth and following that you cannot avoid and escape what you have to do, like I have to do it, even if I'm terrified.
Right.
It's a game changer. You have no idea what's on the other side.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Since my superficial needs are less present, I am able to prioritize what brings me the good things in life, like love.
I love that. I think a lot of people, especially coming from toxic family, and I suffered for this, was just the not enough syndrome. I suffered so deeply from it that I was taking on the pack mule part of the relationship always. And I was doing that always as a child, regulating my parents, right? So I do think that happiness is a choice. It's not something we have. I think it's something that we do. And when you start making better choices, you choose love, love will choose you back.
Yeah.
I always tell people, let life be good to you.
Allow it. Open yourself.
Like, instead of just, I'm going to make my life good. No. Also, take a step back. Let life be good to you. It will be.
Yes.
It will be.
Absolutely. It like, if you create the space, like, for your own healing and create space to, like, when God removes those toxic people out of your life, or people that they're not, listen, I wish everybody well that was like my close friend at one point. I don't have hard feelings about anything. But like, the reason season lifetime, my mom also told me as a kid, was like the hardest thing for me, abandonment. But I do believe that, like, in that space that has been created, the people that have come in my life in the past few years, there is not one that is not like a massive cheerleader for me. And I am them for them. And it's like brought me to another level of like, this is what it should be.
Everyone should be for you, and you'll feel it. And I think that for some reason, when you start getting more visible or more successful, you start to see some of the ugliness in others who want to corner a space. I inherently believe that there is enough for everyone. There's enough time, there's enough money, and there is enough love. There's enough success for everyone. And I think that mindset is what's going to make you the most successful. And those people that are trying to corner a market, they're going to fall out.
Yeah, I believe
falling out.
One of my things is there's no competition. There's only collaboration.
That is right.
Room for there's tons of people that are doing things I do. I am not threatened by them. I like, if they're new, I welcome them. If they've done it longer than me, I want to learn.
Right.
If a woman's beautiful, successful, kind, I want to know her. Like, yeah, I think there's abundance for all of us, especially in the helping profession. There are so many people that need help out there. There's no shortage of the need for all of us. Like, Yeah.
And, you can tell the real ones with how genuine they are when you meet them. I mean, Kristen Cavallari is one of the most genuine people you'll ever meet. And she saw me on Call Her Daddy. And, Kristen is such a nice, kind, generous human being. And if people perceive her differently, they just don't know her. And
that's so many of us. I'm sure people could say
yes,
you or me, like
sure, of course. And I think, she's wildly famous. And so you never know what you're going to get. My sibling played pro sports, and, there's a lot of not nice people that can be very well known. I think that you just always want to be anchored to authenticity. And she's just a great example of it. And I think, I think that authenticity at the end of the day will always win out. And, there are people that don't even know, because it's so hard to be self-identified when you come out of a toxic family. I did not know who I was for a very long time. I just felt so lost, and I was such a pleaser. I was trying to be what I thought other people wanted me to be, because my belief growing up was I can only be happy if my parents are happy. I can only be happy. And I had a golden child sibling, and I was the scapegoat. So there was
I was definitely the black sheep.
I was the black sheep, and that differential treatment was so intense because I would be purposely shown how capable they were of loving someone. And I would get the look like, you're not going to get this.
Yeah, you're not good enough. So I had the not good enough and always too much. So those are I can be.
Me too. I was never something good enough, and I was also never something enough. I mean, I couldn't win either way. And I was chosen for that. But if that turned that broken girl into me,
hell yeah.
And I went through that metamorphosis, then thank you. Because
I say all the time, like, I wouldn't wish what I went through on anyone. However, wouldn't change a thing, because I wouldn't be Amanda Marino today. And I'm very grateful for that.
And we love Amanda Marino.
Oh, and I love you, Dr. Sherry. Yeah, it's been so cool connecting with you. I just resonated with so many things. Do you know Allison Hoker Boss?
Yes. Isn't she Twitch's?
Yes. So I'm going to be in LA, and I'm going on her podcast with her and her daughter, her new one.
Oh, I love that. I really like her.
I love her. So once I meet her, I'll connect you with her. And if there's anyone to connect me with, I would love the any introductions you think would be aligned with me and what I do. And
100%. I have someone I really want you to meet. I interviewed her on my show, and she is in Canada, and she was put into foster care very young. And then her mom took her back, and she had really good foster care. And then she was molested by a stepdad and homeless from 12 to 18. Wow. Her story is just incredible. So I'll make sure that I
would love to just, afterwards also connect and see how we could, also.
Yes, absolutely. I'm in Orange County in California.
I'll be in LA, but I have friends that want me to come to Orange County, which is a hike. So I'm staying in Calabasas.
Yeah, it's a hike.
At my aunt's house, I've done it. I remember I drove to Disney World one time with Disneyland with my son, there and back from my aunt's house in a day when I was like a young mom. So I've done it all. But if I do make it to Orange County, definitely text me after. We'll exchange cells and stuff.
Yeah, I would love to.
How can people find you? What's your Instagram?
Dr.Sherry, and I'm Dr.Sherry on TikTok as well. And then I
know your thing is Share a P on.
Yeah, my clients named it.
Okay.
My clients call their therapy Sherapy. So I'm like, that is so cute. So I'm going to use it. Yeah. So I have my podcast, Sherapy Sessions, Cutting Toxic Family Ties, tons of books I've written. And on Facebook, I'm Sherry Campbell, PhD. So
okay, cool.
I've had Facebook a lot longer than I've had Instagram or TikTok. So those are areas where I do a lot of free. Everything's free. My podcast, there's a subscription show, and then there's my interview show that's free. So yeah.
Well, if you ever need a guest on there too, let me know.
Ooh. I would love to have you on my show. Are you kidding me? Yes, we'll do it.
Awesome. Oh, somehow you disappeared. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. I will put links in for the books and for all the ways to find this beautiful soul who I cannot wait to give a hug to in real life.
I know, me too.
Insta friends.
Yes, Insta friends. I love it.
Yes.
Amanda, thank you for seeing me, for sharing me with your following, for being you, for having such a huge impact, for the love and light that you bring to this world. We're all so lucky to know you and have you.
Thank you. I literally could just say ditto.
Yay.
You're a beautiful soul.
Thank
All
you,
right.
honey. You too.
And on Instagram first. Go back to your Instagram
I'll
page.
go back to Instagram.
Yep.
Let me put my glasses on.
Yes,
Okay,
and
what do I do, honey?
press end live video on there. And then I'll
It
wait.
doesn't say it.
Okay, I'll just end the stream and it'll end the whole thing.
Okay, honey.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Please follow the Levels Without Limits. We meet usually Tuesday at 12:30, but for special people, we create days and times. So we'll see you soon. Okay. Hold on. It's not ended. Why is it not ending? End. Oh, got it. It's still going. It's not ended. She's gone, but it's not ended. End stream.